In 1997, a group of parents in the Lake Washington School District joined together to launch a new high school modeled after the Bellevue International School with a unique set of academic goals. This is the fascinating story of the birth and development of the International Community School of Kirkland, Washington.
New Lake Washington School needed to be formed because the needs of the 7th through the 12th graders at the time were not being met by the current junior highs.
Creating a new school is something that's a very rare occurrence in most teachers' professional career. And it's an exhilarating, a wonderful experience. I remember telling the superintendent, I said, you watch. I said, within a year, this new school of ours will be the equal of Bellevue International School. And she scoffed and thought I was a bit lunatic. And actually, the very first year, the end of that first year and the end of the second year, we had the highest WASL scores in the state of Washington. We had only about 4 or 5 portables at most. You've probably seen the original campus behind Redmond High School. And during that first year, there was only one computer on the whole campus, and it was mine. And it was loaned to me by one of the parents. So we went an entire year, the 7th grade class in that school, without one student computer anywhere on campus.
Dr. Sari was an intelligent, very focused, very professorial teacher, and we were all very happy to have him.
An effective school where students were centered in the education, where they were rooted in the education, where they felt that important things were happening and that the things that happened made sense to them, and that they were empowered to buy into it, to put their hands upon it, to ask questions about it, to reflect upon it, to challenge it as necessary. And they became completely immersed in and completely invested in the process of education, so that it was a meaningful, joyous experience for teacher and student alike.
The teachers didn't know if it was going to work. You know, Dr. Sari had invented this curriculum, but no one had ever implemented it and, you know, put it into practice in the way that we were. You know, we were definitely the guinea pigs. All the teachers who were teaching us the material had never taught it, and you know, we were all going through it for the first time as well. And because of that, there was a lot of just, you know, the joy of discovery. Like, you know, so many times with Mr. Plank or whatever, I would like make a comment or an observation about a book that he had never heard before, you know, because he'd never taught it before. And so we all had this shared kind of sense of discovery.
We were in portables for 3 years. That was a hardship. So we had no place to retire to out of the rain, for instance. Our students in the first couple of years, when they went into the high school to use the bathrooms, because we didn't have our own bathrooms, they had experiences with students that were off-putting, nothing dangerous, but just the usual high school, junior high school, razzing or teasing or whatever. So I think that those issues didn't go away until we finally got our building down in Lower Kirkland, and that was quite comfortable compared to the conditions that we experienced there in the portables.
In the spring of 2000, ICS moved from the portables at Redmond High School to the Houghton neighborhood of Kirkland, its current site. As the years passed, ICS evolved and became nationally renowned for its students' excellence in academics.
as we sit and have these incredible conversations that are almost beyond graduate level at the university, and I kid you not, these students are so well prepared, we would consistently use and refer to and meaningfully refer to material and ideas that we had first discussed in 7th grade and 8th grade. Here we are in 12th grade. And the idea is that we've climbed this ladder where every step has been based upon the one before it, and they're all important. None of the steps are discarded.
ICS students probably either they have a lot of initiative or they have respect for their parents and their parents' initiative.
I think it's that students realize they've chosen to be here and that it's rigorous, it's challenging, it's wonderful, but it's also very hard, and that they're all in it together. I think just the shared experience and the sense of having made the choice to be there creates a kind of community.
What I find makes ICS students and the culture in general very different is how few students there really are per grade. Because you really get to know a lot of your fellow classmates a lot better, and you see them in multiple classes each year and multiple years in a row. And which makes this community and this bond between the students that I think is really helpful for their education, because it allows them to work together and be open about sharing their knowledge with each other and helping each other learn, which is not something you get at larger high schools. I really enjoyed about ICS. I got to know most everyone pretty well, and I think it helps me learn better.
Of course, ICS students wouldn't get very far without their incredible teachers. They are chemists, biologists, physicists, mathematicians, writers, former DJs, television broadcasters, lawyers, and artists. All of them dedicate countless hours of their time to ensure that their students receive an outstanding education.
In order to stay at ICS, a teacher has to be flexible to the wishes of others across the core curriculum, and a teacher has to really love his subject, because many of the great students here expect a fairly profound approach to their topics, and so a teacher has to be ready to improve his knowledge and accept correction from students, because we're all learners at ICS and everybody has a contribution.
The faculty and the faculty and administration of ICS, which is of course the principal and then her support staff, are more dedicated to the concepts of the school and dedicated to the students doing well and being successful.
Well, just like the students at ICS, the teachers all really want to be there. I mean, the teachers, all of them have requested to go to ICS. They know that it's a rigorous environment and the students want to learn, and they want to teach to students who want to learn. Because they know that the students are more engaged and are expecting good teaching, they go out of their way to provide a good experience. They come in on the weekends and after hours to help out with clubs and other activities, or even help out individual students.
ICS teachers are different because they're allowed to have more time with each individual student. Because of their multiple classes and their smaller class sizes and smaller school size, they have the ability to work one-on-one with students, or to be able to have a greater connection, allow students to open up to them and be a more personal resource, which I think helps them know what each student needs to learn and allow students to be comfortable asking the questions when they don't understand, and they're not afraid to be wrong sometimes.
The combined efforts of the ICS staff and students result in students being well prepared for the future. When ICS students move on to college, they feel more comfortable with the difficult material than many of their peers.
ICS really prepares you for college because, quite frankly, you actually know what you're doing. I mean, ICS, you get put through essays and papers and you're forced to learn. I mean, you want to learn, but there's some days when you don't. But you're forced to learn, and at the end of it, you get to college and you realize that you know how to learn. There's so many people that I've met who they don't know how to learn because they didn't have to do it in high school. They could just skim by and not really have to do anything, but I know how to study, I know how to do well on tests because I've had to study and take tests, and I know how to allocate my time so that I have a life in college outside of just studying, but I still have the good grades.
I'd have to say the writing and the preparation that we had in writing all those essays and the in-class essays and having to do like 4 or 5 pages sometimes for an in-class essay. That's really helped with college timed essays and other writing assignments.
My ICS education has prepared me for college through just how the breadth of knowledge that we studied at ICS. We were required to take a varying degree of different subjects throughout our 6 years there, which is, I think, really helpful in allowing us to explore what fields we want to go into, to see what interests us and what we're good at. And so that allowed me to hone in on what I want to do when I'm studying in college. And I think it also helped prepare me for taking a wide range of classes. And with this background I've gotten from ICS, I'm able to take a lot of different things that I know interest me and that I've already slightly studied back in high school.
So college academically was just like, this is so, it wasn't easy, but it was like, this is a kind of work I'm really familiar with and can really excel at, But I went to liberal arts college, which is, at least in my mind, the natural continuation of the ICS pedagogy. I was like, oh, you want a 10-page research paper with an annotated bibliography? I got that, that's no problem. Do you want MLA or Kate Turabian? But it was just like, oh, it's just more of this? Like, this is fun. I love doing this. So I just love that ease of the transition. Like, I knew how to write, I knew how to read, I knew how to research, I knew how to think, which is perhaps the most important of any of those. And, so college was great. I had a fantastic time in college, and the only reason I did was because of the job that, ICS had done preparing me.
ICS has prepared me for college by teaching me how to be a good public speaker. Through my involvement with drama and National History Day and Taste of ICS and doing presentations practically every single month at ICS, it has forced me to speak up and learn to foster my own ideas without all the influence of everyone else, and it has taught me how to listen better, because I think in order to be a good speaker you have to listen, and by having so many different ideas around me, I have to learn to understand and accept what everyone else believes in order to more eloquently speak about what I personally believe.
This close-knit community of ICS produces lasting friendships and fond memories of the 6 years spent together in the small square.
My favorite memories of ICS are sitting with those students, whether it was the writing class and we had to learn about non-essential introductory participial phrases, and we were doing it with inspiration, and it mattered, and the students became master writers, or whether it was the humanities class, and we were sitting in a circle, and quite often I would sit in the very back of the room in a desk, right with the students. So it would be a student to my left and a student to my right, and I would just be there, and we would have the conversation. And the classes, the students were so well trained by all of us because of consistent teacher expectations. You couldn't do that in many public schools without assuming the frontal position in front of the room and then controlling it and staring at everyone. So teaching there was a joy. It was a delight.
Our last day as seniors at ICS, Mr. Plank read us a Dr. Seuss book, I think it was Oh, the Places You Will Go, I think, if that's the name of a Dr. Seuss book. And it wasn't, it was a total sappy, corny moment. We've read great literature together, and this is how we're gonna end it with Dr. Seuss, but it was so genuine and heartfelt just because of what we'd gone through to get there. Like, we were his first class, and he really, had a strong, deep emotional connection to us, and I think a lot of us, really felt, that way towards him and to all the teachers.
It's hard to believe that ICS began in 1997 in the portables of Redmond High School, and we've come so far since then. It's crazy to imagine how much we've accomplished in this 50-year-old elementary school where the fountains are too low and it's really just a tiny square. Yet this school has put itself on the map. The amount that the students have accomplished, the hard work of all the teachers and the community support of the parents has just been so tremendous. I'm excited about this new building where the students will really be able to flourish, not only have ICS on the national map, but it's time to go global and have the students be in the best position to reach their dreams, reach their potential, and really take ICS to the next level.